Here we have a quadratic situation. We know it's quadratic because it's a variation of ax squared plus bx plus c. And we're being asked for the number of solutions. And the number of solutions of a quadratic is a reference to the idea of the discriminant. Now, the discriminant has to do with the quadratic formula, which if you don't know it by heart, you have to make that a top priority because it's not given to you on the SAT. And so that's our quadratic formula that you need to memorize. And I'm going to go ahead and just make up some numbers. Depending on what's under the radical, these numbers will demonstrate that the value under the radical impacts your number of solutions. So for instance, if you have 2 plus and minus root 4 over 3, 2 plus and minus root 0 over 3, and 2 plus and minus root negative 4 over 3, the thing that we're changing is the value under the radical. Now, once again, these numbers have nothing to do with this question. I'm just demonstrating to you that depending on what's under the radical, it impacts how many solutions you have. So here, when the discriminant is positive, you'll have 2 solutions, and that's because we would literally be doing 2 plus 2 over 3 and 2 minus 2 over 3. So we would get 4 over 3 or 0, and because the discriminant, the green part, because the b squared minus 4ac is positive, we end up with 2 solutions. Now here, the discriminant, the part under the radical, is 0, and we wouldn't be adding or taking away anything because there's just a 0 there. So the answer would be 2/3. There would be 1 solution. And last but not least, in this scenario, we have a negative under a radical. So our discriminant, the b squared minus 4ac, is negative, and that leaves us with no solutions because you can't have a negative under a radical. That would simply be the proverbial no solution situation. So now, coming to this question, if we want to know how many solutions there are going to be, we simply need to find out what's the value of the discriminant. What's the value of b squared minus 4ac? So your a is 5, your b is -6, your c is 1, and b squared minus 4ac is -6 squared minus 4 times 5 times 1. And so that's 36 minus 20, which is 16. It's a positive number, and we already said that for a positive discriminant, you'll have 2 solutions, and that's why the answer here is B.